Ministers are very busy putting the budget together. Our target is to return to surplus by 2014-15. It won't surprise you to know that the target has been getting harder to reach. That's a result of the weakness in the global economy and, for example, some increasing earthquake costs. But we are making decisions to ensure we get back to surplus by our target date of 2014-15. It's important to meet that target because every year we're in deficit, we have to borrow more to fund that. We're doing some new and important things on the budget. On Wednesday, for example, I'll be making some announcements on a project I've personally been driving around youth mental health. But at the same time, we are identifying priorities. We are also identifying what things are less of a priority. That's what putting together the budget is all about, and it's what households and businesses around the country understand by the term budget. Our overall fiscal position means, as I said on Q&A yesterday morning, that we're likely to have another zero budget this year or very close to it. What that means is our new spending over the next 4 years in priority areas like health and education will largely be offset by savings in lower priority areas and tightening up tax loopholes and tax avoidance. Just in terms of crime stats that were released earlier today, the police deserve praise for the excellent work that they are doing. As you know, the statistics showed that the recorded crime was 4.8% lower in 2011, which followed on from a 5.6% drop in 2010. We've put an extra 600 police on the front line, and the police generally have been very focused on frontline policing. I want to make the point that these are good results. There is more we can do, and we are doing, in fighting against crime and the desire to make our communities safer. On April the 15th, I'll arrive in Jakarta for a 5-day visit to Indonesia and Singapore, accompanied by the Trade Minister Tim Rosa on the Indonesian leg. I'll lead a business delegation on the visit comprising of senior figures from areas such as food and beverage, aviation, education and geothermal energy. The ASEAN-Australia and New Zealand Free Trade Agreement came into force in Indonesia in January, giving New Zealand businesses a strong platform on which to develop relationships with a country that is projected to be one of the world's largest economies by 2030. Indonesia is the 4th most populous country in the world, so there is enormous potential for New Zealand businesses to become more involved in a country that has a growing desire for our products. Indonesia is already our 10th largest market, but there's a lot of room to expand that trade and to deepen the relationship between Indonesians and New Zealanders. While in Indonesia, I'll be meeting with President Yudhoyono, Foreign Minister, the Trade Minister, and Tourism and Creative Economy Ministers. I'll also be meeting with the ASEAN Secretary General, as well as speaking to members of the ASEAN Secretariat. The Indonesian-New Zealand Friendship Council was launched by Foreign Minister Murray McCully and his Indonesian counterpart in 2010. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak to the Council on my visit, in addition to meeting members of the National Economic Council. I'll also be addressing a conference hosted by the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. My visit to Singapore will highlight the importance New Zealand places on this bilateral relationship with one of our deepest and closest partners. The closer economic partnership between New Zealand and Singapore is one of the country's most comprehensive outside of CER in Australia, and we collaborate closely in many fields, particularly education and defence. I'll be meeting with President Tan and Prime Minister Lee in Singapore, where I'll be discussing a number of issues in the science and technology, education and trade areas. I'll also be thanking both countries on behalf of the New Zealanders for their support in the aftermath from the Christchurch earthquakes. I'll be returning to New Zealand on Thursday, April the 19th. Earlier today I announced that Tauranga MP Simon Bridges will be appointed as a new Minister outside Cabinet, as well as a minor reshuffle of portfolios following the departure of Dr Nick Smith. Simon has proved to be an able member of the National Party caucus, and I look forward to welcoming him to the Executive. He will be the new Consumer Affairs Minister and Associate Minister of Transport, as well as Associate Minister for Climate Change Issues. Napier MP Chris Tremaine, who is currently a Minister outside Cabinet, will move up to become a Minister in Cabinet, ranked at number 20. He will be a great addition, and I'm looking forward to welcoming him to the Cabinet table. In terms of my activity, I'll be here obviously today, tomorrow and Wednesday. Then on very late Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, I'm travelling to Europe for family holidays to my daughter for 2 days, and then that leads up the Indonesian Singaporean trip. Just in terms of the House this week, we'll be starting the committee stage of the appropriation 2010-11 Financial Review Bill. We'll also complete the first reading of the DERA bill and the third reading of the Student Loan Amendment Bill Wednesday, as of course, our members' day.